start. Welcome everyone to this webinar about University College Twente and how to apply for our program. Let's see. Welcome. We are part of the University of Twente and we'll talk about our program today. So today we're talking here are Martin Streng, or a mathematics teacher and part of our admissions board, Xenia, or educational and research assistant, and one of our alumni. And me, I'm Jarmo, and I'm a current student of the class of 2022. If you have any questions during this webinar, please put them in the chat, and then we'll answer them in the chat as soon as possible. So good luck, have fun, learn a lot, and we hope we can inspire you. So what we're going to talk about today is, what is UCT? What do you learn at our Technology and Liberal Arts and Sciences program? And how can you apply for it?
So thanks for the introduction, Jarmo. So the University College Twente, it has a strong focus on integration of social science and technology to solve difficult problems of today, and also has a strong focus to train students to be independent and lifelong learners in a changing world. And in order to do so, we have, of course, set up an educational environment. And the program is basically, is it for everyone? Well, yes and no. It is for you if you want to have a challenge. So students who want to have a challenge are, they flourish in our environment. And the environment is very much focused on, say, community, residential college. So you are in the same building as where you get your courses and do your project work, etc., etc. We have small classes and a close teacher-student interaction. We also say sometimes that we have the teacher is also learning. We are a community of learners, and the student learns, but the teacher learns also. And of course, being part of the university guarantees that we are part of an academic research university. So the level, it is really an academic level that you are experiencing when you enter our college. So what are the focus points? To begin with the last one, one of the focus points is we try to learn you how to bring a change into the world. So it is really not a theoretical program. It is really about in bringing a change to the world. And let's go from bottom up, a little bit out of the box. So you learn how to approach difficult problems. The problems of today, they have a multitude of aspects, and you need to integrate all kinds of results, state-of-the-art results in science, technology, social science, leadership, etc. And you have to integrate that to tackle these difficult problems. And in order to do that, you need to be able to think out of the box. And learning to think out of the box is not, that's not something that is done theoretically. You need to practice, and you practice with your peers. So you learn together, you do projects together, you overcome difficulties together, and that's what's called collaborative learning. And you do so in a community with people from a great many other countries. So we really have an international community, and that not only holds for the students, but also the teachers are from a multitude of countries. In order to well, to be able to flourish in such an environment, and also as an important part of your education to this problem solver, the new type of problem solver, you need a proactive attitude. Proactive in the sense not only to say foresee the problems of tomorrow, but also to foresee what you need to help solving that problem. So you have to see now what is needed next, and therefore you during the rest of your life you will design your own curriculum, and you learn that here in Atlas. So there is a lot of freedom. You can do basically, well, everything you want. Let's phrase it that way. But with a lot of freedom comes a lot of responsibility, and it is not well easy to really find out what you want to do and what you want to learn, because there is a limited amount of time, only 3 years, and in these 3 years you learn how to design your own curriculum and how to guide and how to control and steer your own personal development towards a well-rounded person.
Yes, thank you, Martin. Let's continue to the next slide. So this year and semester overview. So as Martin said, our Technology and Liberal Arts and Sciences program, or short Atlas, you are in it for 3 years. The first year you have 2 semesters, Humans in Movement and Sustainable Systems, which are aimed at orientating yourself, getting used to the program, and forming the basis. In the second year, you have a semester about living under extreme conditions and one about wicked problems, aimed at specialization. And in the third year, you have 1 semester away and aware and 1 semester about signature and celebration, which is all about personalization. Let's go to Xenia, who will tell you a bit more about these years.
Yes, so I'd like to quickly run you through the 6 different semesters that we have to give you a feeling of what you can experience as an Atlas student. The first 4 semesters are set up in much the same way. They all have a project, and they all contain 3 Atlas domains of mathematics, engineering, and social sciences, and they all have room to personalize your own learning by following courses that you get to choose yourself. So, as I already introduced, the first semester is essentially about orientation adaptation. It's about getting used to Atlas way of learning. We have a project called Humans in Movement, and that essentially really feeds off the fact that in the engineering domain, we learn about Newtonian mechanics, and in the mathematics domain, we're learning about calculus and linear algebra. And the idea in Atlas is that all of the domains that you're following in each semester feed into this project and aid your learning and your work in the project. These projects are always done with 4 to sometimes even 10 or 12 of your classmates in Atlas. So you really get a feeling for working in smaller groups and working in larger groups. And even within the domains, you're also taking part in a lot of teamwork. You might be doing a mathematics assignment in pairs, and at the same time, you're doing a social sciences project in a group of 4 or 5. So there's really a lot of interactive work in all of the semesters. Semester 2 is then focused on broadening direction. So you're slowly finding your way within Atlas and saying what interests you, where you might like to see yourself go. The project is to do with sustainable systems, and you have the 3 domains again. You've got thermodynamic systems, you've got programming, and you've got innovation in business and society. And in the second semester, you've got this extra space for electives, which is where you get to start choosing what you want to follow. And that can be at Atlas, but it could also be outside of Atlas at the rest of the University of Twente, where there's a lot of different courses at different bachelor and even master programs. Then moving on to semester 3, which is called Exploration and Focus. You're now entering into your second year at Atlas, and you're starting to really get a feel of where you want to see yourself going. Maybe you already have an idea of what master you want to be following. Maybe you don't, it's all okay. I have some classmates back when I studied Atlas who already knew before they came into Atlas what they wanted to go and do with their master. And then I also had other classmates who had no clue. And it's all okay, so don't worry about that. So moving on to the third semester, your project is to do with living under extreme conditions. I think that Yarmo is currently or has just experienced the third semester.
Yes, I've just finished the third semester indeed.
Do you want to maybe say something about the project?
As a project, we had a semester project, a research project in which we got the assignment to find, a problem statement that we wanted to research ourselves in a group of about 5 or 6 students. And go through a proper research cycle and really learn to do proper academic research.
And so then you still have the 3 domains in the third semester, and then you still have elective space where you get to pick and choose your own courses. And then moving on to semester 4, which is named Expertise and Integration, you've got this one massive project that you do with a lot of your classmates, and then you have, as you can see on the slide, a really big amount of elective space. So this is really the point when Atlas expects you as a student to have found your direction and really sort of be getting deep into the theory of what you find interesting. Now, the 5th semester is called Away and Aware, and most students usually choose to go abroad during this semester to experience life outside of the UT and also outside of the Netherlands. Some students do choose to stay at Twente, but then they do follow courses completely outside of Atlas, so it really is a semester entirely away from Atlas to really focus on your expertise and prepare for your final semester. Semester 6 is called Signature and Celebration, and this is really where you get to shine by finding your bachelor project. So in essence, to wrap up your entire bachelor degree, you have to create a capstone project or a bachelor thesis. People give it different names, and it's essentially one big project that you do individually. You have supervisors who guide you throughout the project. You're doing a lot of research or design, and it really is something that you should be able to be really proud of at the end. And it's something that sort of encompasses your entire Atlas learning. And you're taking from all of all of those different courses that you learned throughout Atlas, that broad base, all of that should be feeding into your capstone project alongside all of the expertise that you gained along the way with all those electives that you got to choose personally, as well as all of the extra things that you learn at Atlas, like sort of organization, leadership, teamwork, research skills and design skills. Yeah, the whole lot.
Yeah. So Xenia, what did you do in your 5th semester? Did you go abroad or?
Yes, I actually went to Norway. I studied for half a year in Trondheim, and I took 4 courses there. I took 1 course on Norwegian history, so that I could sort of learn a bit more of the country that I was actually staying in, which is something that's definitely encouraged by Atlas. And then alongside that, I took a course on big data, a master in geographic information systems, and a mathematics course in stochastic modeling.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And
Okay.
of course, got to make the most of the mountains, which you don't have here in the Netherlands. So.
Nice. Okay, let's continue. So as Martin and Xenia already told, Atlas is really about learning together. And this is where the learning happens. And we don't just do this in the semester projects Xenia talked about, but also in group assignments during courses. For example, during your first semester mathematics course, you will be presented with some challenges that you will work on in groups of 2 to 4 students. But we work in bigger groups for the semester projects, as Xenia told. The 4th semester projects can have up until 15 students per group. But also during some courses like the first social science course, we'll have bigger projects where you work in groups of about 5 or 6 students. And lastly, we have a very interactive system of having lectures where students and teachers having discussions during classes and really learn together instead of just listening to the teacher. So it's really about learning together and learning from each other. Let's see. Yeah, as Atlas, you are in charge of the learning and you decide what you want to learn and how you are going to learn it. Atlas presents you with a set of semester goals and you decide what you do with them. You decide which direction you are going into. You decide which activities you are going to do, and you reflect on that in the end and really shape education to how you would like to see it. It's really making education useful and senseful for yourself. And Atlas provides you with a very strong base of support, with offering academic advisors, tutors, and a really strong supportive community that's always there for you to help you whenever you need it.
Yeah, and as Jarmo said, you are completely in control, and that is also necessary because we want to educate you to be a lifelong learner. And being a lifelong learner is not something you get for free. So we offer quite some structure. And the structure is basically every semester the same. At the start of the semester, you make your plan. What are you going to learn this semester? And how? And how will you show us that you have achieved your goals? And these goals can be academic, but they can also be, say, professional skills like leadership or design or programming or all kinds of say, more softer skills, which are in fact mostly the hard skills, by the way. So you write that in the beginning of the semester, and at the end of the semester, you are going to convince us that you have achieved your goals. So you write your own evaluation, your self-evaluation report, and in that report you write down, okay, I set out to learn this, I did these activities, and well, of course it went a little bit different than planned, but because of that I learned even more, or I learned a little bit different things, and the majority of the goals I set forth to learn I achieved. That is what you try to convince us of. And we look at that and we say, okay, what you report about yourself, your progress, does that match with our observations? And if that's the case, then you pass the semester and you can go on. Of course, if that's not the case, you get some assistance. Okay, maybe you should do a little bit extra. So it is not you pass the semester or not, but if you don't pass, we help you to grow and get it anyway. So, but the self-evaluation report, that is written by you, and that is the most important part of our assessment. Of course, a semester is 6 months, basically half a year, and then halfway we get some, say, calibration point, the midterm evaluation. And in this calibration point, there is well, kind of checkup. Do you need a little bit more or different things, or is everything going well? So it's to help you and us to track the progress of the students. What is extremely important in this whole process is that we focus on feedback. So instead of just giving you a grade, so saying you passed the semester with a 7, no, we don't do that. We give you extensive feedback on all assignments and all intermediate checkpoints that there are. And this feedback really is aimed to support you in your learning. So that is the basic mechanism. And I don't say you don't get any grade, because, well, there are some activities and you can use your elective space to choose all kinds of courses outside of Atlas. And these courses are offered usually by more traditional programs, and they are graded. But apart from this grade that you get, we require you to reflect on your learning. What did you learn in that course? And it occurs sometimes even that maybe a course has not been finished with a top grade. Because of your reflection on your learning, you can convince us that you learned exactly that what you needed to learn, or that what you wanted to learn. So there, also in that case, yeah, you get a grade from the external program, but because of this reflection and your own self-reflection on what you learned, it gets a very different emphasis. You can emphasize the things that you did learn, and that is what's important. So that's our basic mechanism of guiding you towards becoming a fully lifelong self-directed learner. I think that summarizes it.
Yes.
As you might have seen on earlier slides, 10% of your studies each year should be focused on what we like to call your personal pursuit. And this is another really unique aspect of Atlas that highlights how much importance we place on individual learning and development and really following your interests. There really are no rules when it comes to the personal pursuit, which makes it quite difficult to explain, aside from the fact that it should have an academic focus. So I'd like to give you some examples of what students in the past have done for their own personal pursuit. And essentially in each year you do a new personal pursuit. So in the end, you've done 3 personal pursuits throughout your time at Atlas. So I have one friend of mine who created a photography project that ended up being published in a book. So he was learning about all of the theory behind photography. He was taking his own focus and taking his own photos, and he just made this lovely book in the end that he could present as his sort of end product. I also know some students who organize fundraisers, who started entrepreneurial projects like founding a startup, which is something that's really encouraged at the University of Twente as a whole. There was another student who learned woodworking. You can write an academic article about a subject matter of interest. You could also go abroad to take part in volunteering projects. There really is no limit on what you can do with this 10% of your Atlas program that really is entirely unique to you every year. Kind of all I have to say about the personal pursuit.
Yes, it's very unique. I think Atlas is one of the only programs, at least as far as I know, that has this personal pursuit. It really gives you a lot of freedom. So it's a really nice.
Sorry, at the end of each year, that's what's so nice. In June, there is this big expo where all the results of the personal pursuits are presented, and that is, yeah, that's very nice to walk around and see what everyone has been doing. Yeah, very nice.
Yes, always very inspiring to see what other people have produced during the year, and especially how broad the whole set is.
Yeah, and the nice thing is that the last time I participated as a teacher as well with a kind of personal project, which was, yeah, was also nice to really the community feel then. Yeah.
Yes. So let's continue. Application procedure, Martin.
Yeah, the application procedure is basically very simple. So you apply via StudyLink, and then you get a confirmation of application. You upload all kinds of documents, including what's very important, a motivation letter. And on the website is rather precisely specified what we ask you. So you write the motivation letter, we read that, and if it is appealing and your credentials are okay, then you get an invitation for an interview, a joint interview with a student and a teacher. And in this interview, we ask you a little bit of questions, but you can also ask us all kinds of questions, more in depth. After the interview, we go sit with the admissions committee, and we decide upon your admissions. And the whole process from StudyLink until the final decision is done within 2 weeks, provided, of course, we can find a suitable date that fits you and us for the interview. But apart from that, the whole process should take no longer than a week or 2. Well, what are the required credentials? Of course, we need a secondary education degree. And preferably with good grades in mathematics and one of the science subjects, because we combine this technology with social sciences, and the technology part just requires some math. If you think, math at this moment is not completely my cup of tea, as soon as you have gotten the offer of admissions, we will give you access to an online math support package that is available from approximately from April this year. And this math support package you can use to improve your math, but you can also use it as a support for your own high school exam, for instance, if you are preparing for that. It's just a fun package, but it addresses all the necessary things to successfully start mathematics in Atlas in the beginning of your academic career. An IB diploma is also sufficient, and you need to be able to speak and read English well enough, because it's a fully English program. And if you don't speak English, well, it becomes a little bit hard, I'm afraid. So these are the admissions requirements.
Yeah, I think that if people have very specific questions about if they are eligible for our program, it's best to send an email to admission-atlas@utwente.nl. So our admission officer can give you very personal feedback on your situation. Right, Martin?
Yeah, thanks. A useful addition, Jarmo. Yes, thanks.
Okay, let's continue then. Okay, so when you are going to sign up, you go to StudyLink. It's the Dutch website where all bachelor programs, master programs, all higher education is registered in the Netherlands. Dutch students can use their DigiD for logging in and registering. If you're an international student, you create a StudyLink account. And there you apply for the Technology and Liberal Arts and Sciences program of the University of Twente, and that's our program. And then you get some confirmation emails, emails with passwords and usernames. And then you also get an email with which you can log into Osiris, which is our UT platform. And there you can upload the documents that are required. So, for example, your CV, motivation letter, list of grades, that kind of things.
So, as I said, we aim to get the whole process done within 2 weeks, including the interview. And of course, that depends on whether we can find a suitable date for the interview. But normally that is possible. So, the process is then so very simple. So you upload your documents, we evaluate the documents, you get an interview, and then if we make the final decision, and if it's positive, you get a letter of acceptance. Of course, at the end, before you enter, you have to submit your diploma. Usually you get your diploma a couple of months after the interview and after the letter of admissions. So you have to do that. Don't forget it, because if you forget, you're not in. But you will get reminders. And the whole process will, from the moment that you get the letter of admission, you get emails, a whole sequence of emails guiding you through these formalities, but also giving information about how is life on campus, student housing, etc. So the whole train will run automatically, and basically you only have to push the right buttons then.
Yes. Maybe a nice addition for Dutch students for the handing in of the certified copy. If I remember correctly, your high school diplomas are most of the time automatically registered at Duo and then automatically coupled to our systems when you log in with your DigiD on StudyLink. So that takes away one extra step for you.
Yes, that's correct. Yes. Thank you, Armo. Yeah.
Okay, let's continue.
Yeah, so we have already said there are a few documents that we need before we can decide whether you are eligible or not. Motivation letter, and a CV. If you have already available diploma or otherwise transcripts, proof of English language proficiency. Normally, if you do an IB or Dutch high school with English, then that is automatically fulfilled. And yeah, a copy of your passport or ID, all basically standard things. For the motivation letter, please look at the website because there are some directions and some hints and guidelines that you can use to craft your motivation letter.
Yes, those were very helpful when I wrote mine.
Okay, nice. Nice to hear. Yeah, tuition fees. Yeah, for EU and non-EU, it is different. So EU pay around 4.3k euros, and non-EU is about 13. The application deadlines, that's important. Non-EU students, please apply before the 1st of May because of all the formalities with visa, etc. That just takes a lot of time. EU students are a little bit have a little bit more time. They can apply before the 1st of July. But as I stated there, earlier is better because the whole process, also allocating student housing, etc., runs much smoother if there is no hurry. But be sure we can be quick. So we can do if really necessary, and we don't hope so, but in an emergency, we can do the whole process very quick.
That is certainly true.
So if you're familiar with the American liberal arts college style of learning and teaching, you will have seen a lot of similarities between these American colleges and what we offer here at Atlas, which makes a lot of sense because Atlas is partially modeled on this American style of broader higher education. And one aspect that we've also mirrored here in the Twente countryside is how we learn and live on the campus. So you're not just on the campus for your lectures and your tutorials every day, but when it's time to go home, you simply cycle 5 minutes across campus to your house. So all Atlas students are guaranteed housing when you arrive. So there's no need to worry about needing to find a room before arriving. It's all sorted for you. And alongside that perk, the biggest advantage of living on campus is that you get to live with all of your Atlas peers, which is really part of what makes our community here so tight-knit. You're not just learning together every day, you're also living together, you become the closest friends. And if you'd like to learn more about that, I suggest that you also join our webinar tomorrow, where other students are going to go far more in depth about how it is, what it's like to live here on campus. And another thing that will be a focus tomorrow is about your student life, of course, because that's the whole focus of the webinar. But I just want to give you a short introduction. So here at Twente, every single study program has its own study association, which is essentially an association run by students for all the students who follow the same study. And Atlas's study association is very creatively called Atlantis, run purely by students for students. And it really is just a very fun community where students get together and we take part in educational activities, but also a lot of social activities. We also take part in activities together with teachers, which sort of shows you just how tight-knit we are with our teachers as well. There really is just so much fun to be had. But if you're also looking for something outside of what we like to call our Atlas bubble, there are plenty of associations at Twente.
Yes, as Xenia says, we have around 20 cultural associations at our own university campus, 6 student teams like the Robo team, Solar Core team, and over 60 student sports associations on our campus with various sports involved. Often we say if you want to do a sports, well, just imagine it and you can do it here. And if it's not here yet, well, you can just start an association and do it either way. So it's really a campus where you can spend a lot of your time not only on studying but also in enjoying your time and really spending your student life as you would like to. So now we're approaching the end of our webinar. Feel free to also sign up for tomorrow's webinar about student life, as Xenia said. If you want to join other activities, please join our open days in March and November. Coming March, we have online open days. You can find more information on those on our website, utwente.nl/open days. Other things that you can do is sign up for a student for a day. Those are virtual nowadays due to the pandemic, unfortunately. Join more webinars, for example, tomorrow's one or other ones in the future. Or request a Skype call where you can talk to one of our students or teachers. So I think that's it for today. If you want more information, please visit our website utwente.nl/bachelor and select our Technology and Liberal Arts and Sciences program. Contact the Study Information Center or find us on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, and feel free to message us there and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Yes, and if you still have questions, please put them in the chat of this webinar. We'll stick around a bit to answer them. And have a nice evening. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you are inspired to join Atlas, or maybe you found out that you don't want to join Atlas, and that's also all right. We just want to make sure that you end up at the right program for you. And hopefully we'll see you soon in either one of our study orientation activities or an admissions interview. Have a great evening. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Xenia, for being here today. It was great to have you here to talk about the topics. And have a great evening, and we'll see you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.